Hey kids, today I'm adding a fence to my QCW Wasteboard. What a fence does is allows you to set your XY one time. You can set that in your offset on your Masso, and you'll never have to do that again. You know you will always start your project at that particular XY, and it's just a time saver and super handy to do. I had one on my G54 Pro before this. And another way it's beneficial is I had cut a sign on mine using the fence, took it off the machine, took it to sanding, and when I got there, I noticed one of the tool paths didn't really carve as deep as I had wanted it to. So I was able to take the piece back, put it on the machine, clamp it down, knowing that it was exactly where it was before because of the fence. And I was able to rerun just that one tool path, save the project. So yeah, that's the biggest thing about a fence for me. So here's mine. Basically what we're doing is making a framing square out of 1/2 inch MDF. And the reason I chose 1/2 inch is because the material I use mostly for my signs and plaques is 5/8. And I wanted the fence to be a little bit shorter than the material. Um, This is done entirely with arrays. I don't know if you've ever used the array tool in your VCarve Pro, but it lives right here. If you have never used it, don't depend on me to explain that to you because it is a little complicated. So anyway, I've got this already saved. I'm going to open up my Masso link, and then I'm just going to send that file to my Masso. And here it is. I've already saved it. Drop it right there. You can see there's the name of the file. Hit send file. Boom, that quick. Now it lives over there on the Masso. Let's go look at that. So we're at the Masso, and here you can see the wasteboard fence, Onefinity. That's the file I just sent over here. Tap on that. Down here, click load. It loads it up there. I've got my MDF set up here. It's already clamped down. Everything's ready to go. I've even put in the Uptown Jenny 1/4 inch end mill. That'll be the only tool used in this project. So let's home the machine. And I've got mine set up to, since I do have the tool setter, as soon as it homes, it'll come over here and measure that tool. All right, now all we gotta do is run this thing. So let's do it. So we go to Program MDI. This is where I'm gonna tell it to do what it's gotta do. Always hit rewind first. And cycle start. Now it's telling me to load that tool, the 1/4 inch Uptown Jenny, already in there. So it's fixing to measure it again as soon as I hit that cycle start. Because it don't know that that particular tool was already in there a while ago. So now it knows. Whew. Hold on, let me lower that dust boot. That's terrible.
You hear how quiet that spindle is? That's amazing.
Okay, I feel like I need to step in for just a second and address what just happened there. I really didn't give it much thought until editing this video, and it occurred to me just how dangerous that can be, because that spindle is so quiet. If you have any kind of background noise going at all, you're not going to hear that spindle. And I can see where it would be easy to forget that it's spinning, and catastrophe could ensue. So, uh, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. And my hands never got close to the bit because I did know it was running, and I lowered the dust boot with it running. But I was aware of it. But watching it back, that wasn't the best thing to do. I should have turned the spindle off and then did it. But but it could be dangerous if you're used to a router like I am. Those things make all kinds of racket. You're not going to forget it's running, but these spindles, it's a different game. Just thought I'd mention that.
220 volt, 2.2 kilowatt, Pone CNC water cool. All right, let's start back again. Now it's doing the center hole. All right, so we got this cut out now. We're through with that big piece. So the next part is determining where we want this to be. And I'm thinking like right there. That way I still have this clamp on the inside here. So let's just say, I've got a board laying in here. There's my workpiece. So I'll be able to clamp here, here, and of course down here. And I'm thinking I'm going to make some of those cam clamps. I think that's probably the way to go, and just get rid of all these kind, because those knobs sticking up there, they cause a lot of problems. They've already broke that arm on my dust collector once, so that's aggravating. So I'm trying to get away from this. But I'm learning just like everybody else. Anyway, so this is it. I'll bring you over here so you can see what I'm looking at.
So this is where I've decided to put it. And when you align this thing, you can see my grid lines. This is where they help so much. I know I can square it up to the machine because I got the grid line. So, but anyway, I'm just putting the Y, the edge of the Y right on that grid line. The edge of the X right on that grid line. Actually, I'm trying to just pretty much split that grid line in half. And when I get ready to zero, you can see that grid line is perfectly where I will center up my bit to eventually set my G55 0. That'll be my offset, and that G55 will always be right here. It'll always bring me right there. It's gonna be so handy.
Now let's talk about drilling the holes into the wasteboard. I'll be securing it to the wasteboard with a brass screw and threaded insert. We already have the location of the holes in VCarve. All I've got to do is take the center holes that I've already got the vector set up for in VCarve and change the diameter of those to match the hole diameter that this insert needs, which is 0.3125. So let's go in VCarve right quick and I'll show you how to do that.
All right, we're back in VCarve Pro. These are the circle vectors that I used for the holes that I drilled. This particular one is for the Y-axis. The array sent it up that way. This one for the X, and of course the array sent it across here. We'll just start with this one, the Y. All I'm going to do is just change the diameter of that, which simply go over here. You can see it set at 0.26. That's a 0.25 bolt, so I just cut it a little larger than it needed to be. So that's 0.26, but the actual size we need for the insert is 0.3125. Oh, 0.3125. Okay. By that. Now we'll do the same thing down here for the X. Right here. It's set to 0.26, but we're going to change it to 125. And that'll be the correct size for the brass threaded insert. All right, so we've got that. Now let's save this. Go back to our toolpath. The only one we're worried about is the small hole, the Y array and the X array. And that's how I have them sorted out. You have the larger outer hole and then the smaller inner hole. I'm just reusing that smaller inner hole for the threaded insert. So we're going to save those. Notice I'm saving the visible toolpaths into one file. The reason I can do that is because I have the tool center. Yep, need one. So here we go, wasteboard fence holes, QCW holes. Save that. Yep. And we're going to send it over to the Masso. Okay, here it is. This is the one we just did. I'm going to bring it over here, drop it. You can see the name, and it simply hits send. Boom, and it's already over there to the Masso. Now let's go look at that.
We're in the Masso. Click the F6, load file. There it is. Wasteboard fence QCW holes Onefinity. Just tap on that. Go down here and load it up. And there you can see the holes that we're fixing to drill in my wasteboard. Okay, now we jump forward several hours. Cutting the holes in the wasteboard didn't go quite as planned. I did have a couple little mistakes.
This is the worst.
Yeah. But I got it done though. This I guess I just forgot to set my Z height. I was so nervous and, trying to be so careful, I just overlooked something simple. And I had one little miscue up here. But anyway, the holes match up perfectly with the fence. I've got the threaded inserts in there. That was no big deal. So I ended up with what I wanted, but I hate that I, did that. But that's why I make these videos, to maybe help you avoid making the same mistakes that I make. I'm just glad that the fence covers up that. I'm kind of picky about that stuff. But anyway, it is what it is, and this is what I ended up with, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now the fun part, put the screws in. Which, full disclosure, I have already fastened this down earlier, but then took it back off for the video. And I seriously do not have any video of the drilling those holes. The way I did it, like I would run a pass, 0.02 just to make sure it was going to be in the right spot. Each hole was where it was supposed to be. And then I would run it at 0.25. And then the final depth for the inserts was 0.65. And that was perfect. They're recessed below the surface of the wasteboard far enough where they're not going to cause any problems, when I'm resurfacing. All right. I'll bring it around here and let you see how well that lines up. There, split that thing. Now, what I did do now, this was not originally right up to that grid line. So once I got it installed the first time, I went through with the same bit and I just shaved it off the X and the Y until it cut back to the grid line on both axes. It took like 4 or 5 passes to do it because I was just taking off just a fraction at a time. But anyway, it turned out great. And this is the beauty of a G offset. In my case, it's a G55. No matter where my machine is, all I have to do to get it right there on my fence is go to work origin, and it's going to go there every time. And I'll show you how to set that up. That's where I'm going to set my G56. I've got to take note of these, the X and the Y. Write that down, which I have. And you go to your tools and offsets. Go down here to your G56 in this example. We're just going to call it test. And then my X offset is 8.9858. My Y is 8.0646. The Z, I'm just going to leave that because I don't think that matters. No, I'm going to do it exactly like I did mine. I just set mine at 1.00, and I don't really know if that does anything. But save that. So now, in order to get to that, because you see up here, I'm still on my G55. But here's how to change that. You go to the program MDI, F2, and you open up your MDI. Click that button, and then I've already been playing with it, so all of my stuff is pretty much populated up here. But if I don't have a G56, so
in this case, I would just type in G56 run. All right, now it changed that up there at the top. You can see right there, G56. And now exit, and let's just move the spindle wherever. We're just gonna move it wherever. All right, now we can go back to the program MDI, the F2, and click on go to work origin. And just like that, it's right back to where we had set up the G56. And I've been playing with this a little bit more, and I have 3 different Gs. My G54, which is home, and from what I understand, that should always be home. So all of that will be zeros all the time. There's no need in testing it. I know the machine homes. But then I got my fence 1, which is there. And then I've got test, which I set up a while ago, but this time I moved it way back there where that washer is. That's just how I marked it. So to get there, I'll go back to my F2, MDI, G56, run. And you don't even have to exit out of this. I learned that. And then go to work origin, and it's gonna go right on top of that washer. And then if I wanted to come back to my fence, which I know is G55, I just type in G55 run, come over here, go to work origin, boom, just like that. So anytime I'm gonna cut a sign using this fence, all I have to do is go to my MDI and choose the G55, and it's going to start there every time. So how cool is that? Yeah, anyway, that's how it works. That's the beauty of a fence, and as I've learned, that's the beauty of the G55 through G59 commands too. Super useful.
And that's it for this video. I hope I had some good information in here for you and keep you from making a mistake that I made. It's really not a bad project at all. It took a lot longer than it should have for me, but I was just, I was so paranoid about messing up my wasteboard. And it's only 3/4 inch MDF, you know, it's not like it's irreplaceable. Anyhow, I appreciate y'all watching. If you don't mind, give me a like and a subscribe. I'd sure appreciate it. See you next time.